Good morning, everyone. In this fast and noisy world, power is not measured by how loud you speak, how rich you appear, or how quickly you react. Real power lies in mastery of the self, the quiet, invisible discipline that shapes every word, every decision, every thought. Silence is strength, not weakness. It is the quiet discipline that separates the wise from the reckless, the grounded from the impulsive. To control one's speech is to master one's emotions, for words are often the first soldiers of our inner chaos. When we speak without thought, we surrender to impulse. When we pause, we reclaim our power. The ability to stay silent in moments of anger, provocation, or temptation is not passivity, it is conscious command. Silence is the space where clarity grows, and clarity is what allows strength to emerge with purpose, not noise. In a world that rewards the loud, silence becomes an act of rebellion. Everyone wants to be heard, but few take the time to listen. When you practice silence, you begin to hear more than words. You hear intentions, emotions, truths that people try to hide behind their speech. You understand that not every situation demands your opinion, not every insult deserves your defense, and not every question needs an immediate answer. This understanding gives birth to power, the power to respond wisely rather than react blindly. Silence is also a mirror of inner peace. When the mind is calm, the mouth follows. Those who speak less are not always silent out of fear. Often, they are silent out of understanding. They know that noise does not equal influence, and volume does not equal confidence. The strongest people in the room are often the quietest because they have already fought the battles within themselves that others are still fighting aloud. Speech is a tool, not a weapon. It can heal, inspire, and connect, but when used carelessly, it can destroy trust, dignity, and relationships in moments that words can never repair. The wise choose their words as a craftsman chooses his tools, with patience and precision. They understand that silence between words gives meaning to the words themselves. Just as music is born from both sound and pause, wisdom is born from both speech and silence. When you master silence, you learn patience. You learn that some truths do not need to be spoken to be known. You learn to endure misunderstanding without rushing to justify yourself, to accept delay without surrendering to frustration, and to wait for the right moment rather than forcing it. This kind of control is rare because it demands strength not to act when every part of you wants to. It is easy to react. It is difficult to restrain. Yet in restraint lies dignity. Silence is not emptiness, it is awareness. It allows you to observe, to think, to feel without distortion. It separates what matters from what merely distracts. It reminds you that your worth does not depend on how much you say, but on how deeply you understand. When you can hold your peace in moments of chaos, when you can choose quiet over argument, and when you can let truth speak through your calm rather than your tongue, then silence itself becomes your greatest expression of strength. Emotions are servants, not masters. They exist to inform us, not to command us. To be ruled by emotion is to surrender reason, but to understand emotion is to gain wisdom. The wise person does not reject feeling. They observe it, interpret it, and decide how to act. Moods come and go like waves, yet many allow these temporary tides to steer the entire course of their lives. When we allow anger, fear, or sadness to dominate us, we lose control of our choices and become prisoners of passing storms. True strength lies in recognizing emotion without becoming it, in feeling deeply but acting deliberately. Every emotion has its purpose. Anger can reveal injustice, fear can signal caution, and sadness can inspire reflection. Yet when these emotions take control, they distort judgment. The mind, when clouded by emotion, magnifies problems and diminishes reason. The wise do not suppress emotion, for suppression breeds bitterness. Instead, they discipline it. They pause, breathe, and observe the feeling as if it were a guest passing through the house of the mind. They do not build a home for it, nor do they drive it out with hostility. They let it stay until it has said what it needs to say, and then they let it go. Emotional control is not about coldness, it is about clarity. It means choosing to respond to the world rather than reacting to it. A reaction is immediate, impulsive, and often regrettable. A response is measured, thoughtful, and rooted in awareness. When insulted, the reactive person strikes back. The responsive person smiles, knowing that another's words reveal more about their state than their truth. When faced with failure, the reactive person despairs. The responsive person reflects and adapts. Mastery of emotion transforms pain into growth, setbacks into lessons, and chaos into calm. The world often praises passion, but ungoverned passion destroys more than it builds. Anger without direction burns bridges, joy without restraint blinds judgment, and desire without discipline leads to ruin. The wise learn to channel emotion rather than be consumed by it. They use anger as fuel for justice, fear as a reminder of prudence, and sadness as a teacher of empathy. In this way, emotions become allies, not enemies, servants that strengthen the will rather than weaken it. Control of emotion begins in awareness. The moment you can name what you feel, you begin to separate yourself from it. You are not your anger. You are the one observing it. You are not your anxiety. You are the one witnessing it. When you step back and watch your feelings instead of being swept away by them, you reclaim the authority that emotion tries to steal. Every time you choose peace over impulse, patience over outburst, and understanding over resentment, you affirm your mastery of self. Emotions are powerful forces, but only when placed under command do they become tools for wisdom rather than weapons of destruction. Wealth without wisdom is a burden, for money in the hands of the undisciplined becomes a chain instead of a key. It promises freedom but often delivers dependence. Many chase wealth believing it will bring peace, yet without understanding, it only multiplies desires and anxieties. True wealth is not measured by what fills your hands, but by what fulfills your mind. Money is a tool, not a treasure. It is meant to serve a purpose, not become one. When pride replaces purpose, wealth begins to own the person instead of being owned by them. The wise understand that fortune gained without foresight soon fades, while discipline preserves even the smallest earnings. Money itself has no morality. It reflects the heart of the one who holds it. In the hands of the wise, it builds, supports, and uplifts. In the hands of the foolish, it corrupts, isolates, and destroys. To spend recklessly is to waste opportunity. To hoard endlessly is to waste life. Balance is the essence of wisdom. The disciplined person learns to use money as a servant to greater aims, education, growth, and generosity. They find satisfaction not in showing what they have, but in knowing how they manage it. Quiet wealth is stronger than loud riches, for it brings peace without performance. Spending wisely is an act of self-respect. It means buying what adds value rather than what adds vanity. Many purchase out of emotion, seeking status, comfort, or escape, only to discover emptiness in the aftermath of indulgence. Wisdom teaches restraint, and restraint multiplies value. Every coin saved through discipline becomes a step toward independence. The one who controls spending controls their future. The one who chases pleasure through possessions loses both. Saving quietly is another mark of strength. It is the silent preparation for uncertain times, a reflection of foresight and patience. The wise save not from fear, but from understanding that life is unpredictable. They know that fortune favors the prepared, and they build a foundation that allows them to stand steady in every season. Saving is not about greed, it is about stability. It ensures that when storms arrive, they can act from calm rather than panic. Yet the truest mark of wisdom in wealth is generosity. To give humbly is to understand that abundance is not meant to be kept but shared. Money that flows brings life. Money that stagnates breeds attachment. Giving with humility purifies both the wealth and the heart. It teaches detachment from material things and connection to human value. The wise give without seeking praise, for they know that the greatest investment is not in possessions but in people. Wealth guided by wisdom becomes a blessing, a force that uplifts without corrupting. But wealth without understanding, moderation, or purpose turns heavy. It demands more attention, breeds more fear, and steals more peace than poverty ever could. The true art of living lies not in earning more, but in needing less and using what we have with intention, gratitude, and grace. A mind governed is a life liberated, for every action, emotion, and decision begins in thought. The mind is both the architect of peace and the author of chaos. It can build a paradise within poverty or create misery amid abundance. Those who learn to rule their thoughts live in mastery. Those who let thoughts rule them live in slavery. The true battle of life is not fought in the world outside but in the quiet chambers of the mind, where every idea, fear, and belief competes for control. Mastery begins with awareness, the realization that not every thought deserves attention and not every idea deserves belief. The mind is a powerful servant but a dangerous master. Left unchecked, it can trap a person in endless cycles of worry, regret, and expectation. Thoughts multiply when they are not observed, and illusions grow when they are not challenged. Many live as prisoners of their own minds, reacting to every fear and following every desire. The wise understand that the mind must be trained as one trains the body, with discipline, patience, and repetition. Just as an untended garden is overrun by weeds, an undisciplined mind is overrun by doubt and distraction. To govern the mind is to pull these weeds daily, replacing them with thoughts rooted in truth and reason. Freedom begins the moment you recognize that your thoughts are not you. You are the observer, not the noise. When anger arises, you can choose to let it pass. When fear whispers, you can choose not to listen. Every time you pause before reacting, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. The wise do not seek to control the world, for that is impossible. They seek to control their mind, for that is enough. When the mind is steady, life's storms cannot shake it. When the mind is chaotic, even calm waters feel threatening. The mind shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. Two people can face the same situation. One sees opportunity, the other sees defeat. The difference lies not in the world but in how their minds interpret it. A governed mind focuses on what can be done rather than what cannot. It looks inward for strength rather than outward for excuses. It practices gratitude instead of complaint, understanding instead of judgment. In doing so, it becomes the foundation for an unshakable life. Training the mind requires stillness. In silence, one begins to notice the constant stream of thoughts flowing through awareness. Observation weakens their control. Mindfulness transforms them into tools instead of tyrants. The disciplined mind learns to direct thought toward purpose and withdraw it from distraction. It does not waste energy on what is beyond control, nor does it dwell on what cannot be changed. A liberated life is not one free of challenge but one free from inner turmoil. When the mind is governed, external chaos loses its power. The world may shift, but the self remains steady. The person who has mastered their mind walks through life untouched by noise, at peace with themselves, and free in every sense that truly matters.